Hello and welcome to episode number 47 of the TEW WWE Challenge Run. This is going to be the SmackDown Week 4 Friday, August 2020, and it is the go-home show the day before the first night of the two-night SummerSlam extravaganza. Without any further ado, let's just jump into this go-home show. Daniel Bryan opens the show. He says that he may not be 100%, but he couldn't sit by and let Braun Strowman, Tucker, and the rest of the Hoss House run around thinking that they'd won. Nothing can keep him down, because if there's one thing larger than Braun Strowman, it's the size of his heart. And at SummerSlam, he will prove that he isn't to be overlooked, literally, and he will take Braun's Universal Championship, and that match will have no disqualifications. Hoss House then interrupt. They attempt to beat Bryan up, but Gulak, Ali, and Otis come out to even the odds. Gulak calls Tucker a son of a bitch. Bryan got his revenge last week when he pinned him in that six-man tag. Otis and Ali and him will get it at SummerSlam again, but he also wants to get it right now, one-on-one with Tucker. So yeah, the Universal title match, Braun Strowman and Daniel Bryan, will be no holds barred, or no DQ, whatever. Same thing, really. And also, Obakanu, Dabba-Kato, and Tucker will take on Otis, Mustafa Ali, and Drew Gulak in a six-man tag team match. And I'm not sure if that'll be on a kickoff show. It might be. It'll either be that or the Rob Gronkowski match. So I'm not sure. I'm still not sure which one I want to put on the pre-show. But yeah, that is also a match that'll be happening at SummerSlam. The match now is Tucker versus Gulak as a 68. Tucker cheats to beat Gulak in 7 minutes 34, 57 for Tucky, and 62 for Gulak. After the match, Braun lays Gulak out of a power slam. When Bryan gets into the ring, he probably brings a kendo stick with him. He delivers kicks and kendo stick shots to Braun to knock him down to his knees. He goes for the running knee. Braun catches him and scoops him up in for a power slam. He holds the title up and says that Bryan will wish he never come back, because facing Braun in a no disqualification match will make being hit by a car feel like a paper cut. Ah, get these hands, etc. 50. That's fine for what it is. James Storm defeats Tyler Breeze in 6 minutes with an 8-second ride. 50 for Storm, 38 for Breeze. After the match, James Storm calls out Rob Gronkowski one last time, and he appears on the Titantron. He's got his sunglasses on, he's got his little jacket on, and Gronk's like, then he takes the glasses off. He says, I know it's the biggest party of the summer and I'm all about partying, but if you want to question my integrity, you want to question my desire to be here, you want to face me and try and end my WWE career at SummerSlam, well, you're on, you son of a bitch. So Gronk and James Storm will be going at it, one-on-one at SummerSlam. Another just filler match. Elias defeats Kalisto in 7.5 minutes. He gets a 62, Kalisto 44. SmackDown Women's Championship contract signing is next. Sasha and Bayley come out first, and alongside them is, I guess, technically stand-in GM or Paige in this, Adam Pearce, but more so like board of directors, voice. Then Paige comes out. Bayley says Paige is a mark for herself, and she stepped in and taken an opportunity for herself. But what she doesn't know is she messed up her whole world. And then Pearce takes the mic and he's like, since Paige, you want to be an active competitor here on SmackDown and try and win the SmackDown Women's title, you will not be only signing for a title match at SummerSlam, but you will also be signing away your resignation for the role of SmackDown General Manager, because we cannot have anybody challenging for championships that runs the show, because a champion running the show is just bad news for everyone involved. Paige is like, I've got faith in myself. She knows she's back and she's better than ever, like Eric Bischoff. She knows that she will be SmackDown Women's Champion. She signs away her right to be GM, and then Sasha and Bayley jump her, and she gets put through a table. 53, Sonya cheats to beat Nikki Cross by submission in 8:39. 53 for Sonya, 41 for Nikki. After the match, Sonya keeps her submission hold locked in on Nikki, because she's got her beat like she will have Alexa beat in that fight pit on one of the SummerSlam nights. When Alexa comes out from the back and she actually looked competent fighting, she takes the fight to Sonya Deville and lays her out with a big kick. And we're like, oh shit, maybe it won't be so easy after all. Maybe Alexa has trained for this, and maybe, just maybe, she can defeat Sonya Deville in her own backyard at SummerSlam. And of course she checks on Nikki because Nikki is the one who helped her, like a good friend. 43, Mina and Mizuki of J-Flow defeat Carmella and Dana Brooke. Mina pins Dana Brooke with a 450. Mina gets a 35, 29 for Mizuki, 44 for Carmella, 31 for Dana. Then after the match they go to sing because they didn't get the chance to sing before the match. But the microphones are not working. And Naki, she gets a hump with this. She stamps her feet and pouts in anger. And then she shouts at the other 4 girls in Japanese, and they all march to the back as we go to a commercial. So someone has messed with the microphones here. I probably won't take a genius to figure out who they think did it. The tag teams come out for a promo. Usos, New Day, and Death from Above. Cynthia says that while Usos and New Day have been on top of the tag division for years, they can't compete with Death from Above, as they are bringing the Lucha Libre star to SummerSlam. Hello, Pat McAfee. Making a cameo in Challenge 1. That's when the 3 teams start arguing, when Adam Pearce comes out again. He says he's upping the ante at SummerSlam. It will now be a triple threat tag team ladder match. I'm a big mark, and I love having ladder matches at the Big 4 shows, SummerSlam and Mania specifically, and it was either this or the Raw Women's title match I was going to make a ladder match. But I settled on this one because I thought this one would be better as a ladder match, and probably the people in the women's match, the game wouldn't let it click as well. We come back from the commercial then, and Dakota and Raquel are enjoying tea on the sofa. She's still resting her leg, when all of a sudden the door opens, and the 5 members of J-Flow barge in to Dakota's locker room. They take the tea, they pour it all over the head of each of the champions. They take that Raquel's tea, pour it on her, Dakota's on her. And then Raquel stands up and she's like, oh, I'm going to beat you up. But then Maki jumps on her back, distracting her, so the 4 other members of J-Flow can take her out. And Dakota stands up amidst all the chaos. She's like, get out of my locker room, you fucking bitches. And then Tam will come up and step on the foot that she's been resting all so long. And then all the Joshies leave in a huff because Dakota and Raquel ruined their special concert. These are the type of silly segments that I like. What isn't silly though is this, Sami Zayn coming out to the ring. He's got his current attire, the heel attire, he's got like the big jacket and like the brown trousers, tracksuit trousers. He says he heard Shinsuke, or should he say Malcolm Bivens, loud and clear last week. He thinks that Sami Zayn is a loser. And he takes off the jacket and underneath he's got the old school Sami Zayn jacket with like the checkered print on the inside. It's like, you want the old Sami Zayn? He tears off like the pants to reveal the old school Sami Zayn tights. He throws his arms out, he's like, well, here he is. And he's coming to SummerSlam to kick your ass. Then Bivens comes out alone. He says that Sami's going to have to run that back, because he can't translate the word ass to Shinsuke Nakamura. And quite frankly, there was a lot to remember there, and he doesn't know if he'll be able to actually reciprocate the message correctly to Shinsuke. And Sami's like, okay, I'll make sure I'll change it, and I'll send it into a message that I know Nakamura will understand. Then he picks up Bivens and lays him out of a blue thunderbomb and a haluva kick, and sends the translator packing back to Nakamura, as the old Sami Zayn is here, and he's coming to SummerSlam to take on his former best friend Shinsuke Nakamura.
Can't you see how your love's affecting our reality? Every time we're down, you can make it right, and that makes you larger than life. Can't you see how your love's affecting our reality? Every time we're down.
Kayla Braxton is backstage. She's interviewing Sheamus and Cesaro, and she informs them that their title match will take place on SummerSlam Night 1, and is less than 24 hours away from this moment in time. How are they both holding up, knowing they're going to fight each other at SummerSlam? And Sheamus says that the respect between him and Cesaro isn't over because of a fight. Hell, beating the piss out of each other is what made them friends. but it will be the best man who leaves SummerSlam as the IC champion. Cesaro says that man will be him even, and he will still cheer Sheamus on his quest to become champion. That is if Cesaro ever drops it, and there's an opportunity for Sheamus to pick it back up again in the future, but that time won't be SummerSlam. Cesaro leaves ahead of the tag match, and Sheamus is just behind him like, what do you mean, fella? I'm gonna kick your arse. Excuse me. In an 81, Sheamus and Cesaro defeat Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. 14-19, Sheamus pins Roode with the Brogue Kick. Sheamus gets a 72, Cesaro gets an 80, 63 for Roode, 68 for Ziggler, in what is technically the main event match of the night. And it banged. I thought it was going to be meh. After the match, Cesaro and Sheamus are celebrating, and Sheamus sort of stops celebrating, and he goes into a corner, he starts beating his chest and teasing that he's going to hit Cesaro with the Brogue Kick. Then Cesaro turns around, and then he does the run up and lifts his leg in the air, and then pulls it away right before he can hit him in the face. Cesaro sort of flinches, and then Sheamus just smiles at him. He pats him on the shoulder, where he's got his IC title over his shoulder. He's like, oh, that close, fella. It's that easy for me. And then he leaves, teasing that he was going to kick his friend in the face here tonight. Main event segment. Big Dog is here, and he's kind of call out the Fiend. He says he's been dealing with Bray Wyatt's bullcrap for years, and he thinks now, just because he's got a mask on, that he's meant to intimidate Roman more. You see, here's the thing. He's been watching the Fiend's run here on SmackDown so far, and he knows that everyone seems to change when they come into contact with the Fiend, and that's no exception to Roman. The only difference is the Fiend will wish that Roman didn't change, because this is a Roman Reigns we've never seen before, and he's coming to SummerSlam and he's coming to whip the Fiend's ass. And then the light static I can't be asked to edit it because I've not got a special writing up, so yeah, the Fiend static goes off and he comes out. He sticks his mandible claw on Roman, but Roman lifts it up. He fires it out of his big dog strength, pulls Bray's hand out of his mouth, fights it out like he's fighting out of a claw, hits him with a Superman punch on 2, and then he goes, ooh, ah, in the corner for a spear, runs towards him, and the lights go out, and the Fiend disappears. And he laughs at Roman to win the show. Because that's an 84. I think that actually might be the best show I've ever done in the save so far. But what matters more than that is what you think of the show. So do let me know what you think in the comments below. That should be enough to really back up to big just in time for the pay-per-view. And speaking of the pay-per-view, that will be episode 48 and 49, the 2 nights of SummerSlam. And they will be next. I very much hope to see you then.